What up, everybody? Welcome on into See Ball, Get Ball. We're getting to the part of the season now where, first of all, it starts to get the dog years. Like, right, every week starts to get longer, especially for the players because you do the same thing every single week. But we're also getting to firing season. And last week was Penn State, and we talked about that a lot. And whether that was the right decision, and you're just hearing more and more about buyouts and different people losing their job, possibly losing their job. Mike Norvell is a name that's being brought up a lot. But I think Billy Napier is the guy that got gone next. And we talked about it. Was it the next loss that might cause Florida to fire him? No, it wasn't. They beat Mississippi State. They survived against Mississippi State. It was a great game down to the wire. But I think the biggest thing with Florida, man, this is a proud program. Like, this is a program. There's a group of people. There's a high school group now that has grown up in a whole set of classes that has gone through that don't realize that Florida football is elite and that has been elite and that was elite for a long time under multiple coaches not that long ago. Like, there's a whole class of kids growing up that haven't witnessed that. And I'm talking about Spurrier averaged over 10 years or 10 wins a year for 12 seasons. Like, that's dominance, taking shots at everybody. Like, Florida was the place to go. Urban Meyer averaged over 11 wins in 6 years at Florida. And so I think when you think of Florida, I think some people have a notion that Florida's not very good. They're not a perennial power. I think Florida folks are looking around going, are we? Like, are we a big-time program? And the most wins they've had in a season in the last 6 seasons is 8 wins. 8 wins. Like, they've averaged 6 wins a year since 2020. Like, counting towards this part of the season. And so, like, Billy Napier, first of all, unbelievable job handling all the criticism, all the negativity. I don't know that I ever saw him say a negative word. He was always so positive, so gracious. You got fans yelling things at him that you would not yell to him in the streets if you saw him. Absolutely not. Like, absolutely not. And then his family and what he has to go through and what you have to hear. But the bottom line is this, like, 6-7, 5-7, 8-5 with a big rebound last year, and then 3-4 at this point in the season. At Florida, man, with what I just told you about Spurrier and what I just told you about Meyer, it's not good enough. And like, it's just you watch this offense and you're frustrated. You don't remember Urban Meyer offenses. You don't remember Steve Spurrier offenses. And that's why when you transition to like the next coach, like, it's got to be an offensive coach. Dan Mullen had a pretty good run at Florida. Like, I know they ran him out, but he actually won some ball games. And Georgia fans remember wheel route. That happened a bunch. But when you look at the University of Florida and you look at their decision now to move forward, I think there's a bunch of people you can go after. There's one guy that I don't know that he's going to be talked about a whole lot, but it's the first call I would make. I'm not saying it's the right decision, but it's the first call I would make, and that would be Jeff Brom. I'd literally go right to the University of Louisville, like, and not a second, man. And why would I do it? Because Jeff Brom, he is an elite offensive mind. He's a top 5 play caller in all of college football. He's proven he can recruit. He can run so many different systems and mesh so many different systems really, really well. He knows how to beat Miami. It's a good rival, like Florida that he just beat. But I just think with the entertaining brand of football and the great coach that he is. Now, listen, I'm not saying he's going to leave his alma mater. Like, I don't think he will. That's his hometown. Everything about that, like, probably not going to leave. But he's the first guy I would call because I know immediately, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I get his brother Jeff. I get Jeff and Brian, so I get both Broms. But both offensive coaches, both really, really elite at what they do. I would sign up for that in a heartbeat. If I don't get Brom, I'd go to Eli Drinkowich. An offensive mind. He's been so good. He's done it with multiple coaches. He loses coaches, it seems like almost every other year, but he's such a good coach. I think that he's such a good coach, he replaces them, and the offensive success continues. Now, this year, it's kind of teetering right now, and the offense needs to get back on track because they haven't been really, really good. But Eli Drinkowich, I think the business side of it, now listen, he's never been at a brand like Florida. Like, I think that he immediately becomes a better coach because there's so much access to speed in the state of Florida. Like, it's it's impressive. Like, it's so impressive to watch high school football in the state of Florida. It's always talked about just the speed that you can recruit for your roster. It goes time and time again. So Drink, kind of a nerdy football coach that takes shots. He's self-proclaimed nerdy. I'm not calling him nerdy. He's nerdy, but Drink's awesome. But he's been also good with the business side, I think, of NIL. And then the last name that I'll give you that I would go next. So this is my order of how I would go. Alex Golish. And he's a guy that just won in the Swamp. He just beat Florida in the Swamp, right? High-flying O. SEC experience, really familiar with the state, like really familiar. Obviously recruiting in the state, done it at a lower level. Like this is a guy that could come in and win. Now, I'm not sure they'll go non-group of 5 because I think that kind of says – Florida might feel like they're above that, but if somebody's going to hire that dude, and that dude's going to win and be very, very successful. I don't know if you saw last week, they're up by like 30 against Texas State, and that dude's coaching his tail off. I love that. Sign me up for that. The names that you're hearing that I'm not jiving with, like Lane Kiffin, I just think Lane's at a spot in his life, man, where he's so happy and he's so excited. And you saw the documentary, like he's prospering, right? Like he's doing good. His son had a game-winning touchdown last week. So he's ingrained into high school football. Like I don't think he's going to leave because of that. I think he's really, really found happiness. You look in the chat, my man Pred says James Franklin. Yeah. I mean, James Franklin's one. I'm not sure that name's ready. I'm not sure I'm going there just because of that was as toxic as it got to at Penn State. And you saw that and how it went down to, and like Florida fans, I don't know that you hire somebody that they just told to go away, but, I think that's a guy that you might hear his name. And then the last name, Rhett Lashley, like got some swag, a little younger. He was at Auburn. He was the OC at Miami, so very familiar within the state there as well. But I just want everybody to realize, like, Florida's a great job, man. This is not a slacker job. This is not a job where like you don't get elite coaches. That's an elite coach. That's an elite state of high school football with the speed and stuff that goes on. So the interim right now is Billy Gonzalez. He's been there at 3 different stints. He worked for Urban Meyer for both natties, by the way. So, let's see how he finishes this season while they do the coaching search, because I think it'll, I don't know if he'll have the job or have a chance to win the job, but you never know what the heck can happen down the stretch. But just don't forget, Florida's a great spot to be in. Another coaching spot, and this deserves to be talked about as well. Hugh Freeze is another name that's being talked about, and he's under the microscope. And I get it. I love Hugh Freeze. I'm a big fan of Hugh Freeze. And if we want to take the positives of what Hugh Freeze has done, there are a lot, man. Like, if you look at Hugh Freeze and you look at their ability to upgrade the talent, check. There ain't no doubt. Like, the talent is way better than when he got there. Like, he's got two possible first-round picks at receiver on that staff right now. Now, look at DJ Durkin, home run. Like, DC has been great. Finding defensive talent has been absolutely great. Like, he's done an amazing job with that. So those are 2 things I'd put in the check column. The thing about it is, what do we know about Hugh Freeze? What do we know about his offense? It's been quarterback, man. He's been so good at getting quarterbacks. He's been so good at finding ways to use mobile quarterbacks. Man, not at Auburn. Like, he's 14-18 with the roster upgrades, but the QB's your specialty. Like, it's got to get better. And I think one of the things you've seen with Hugh Freeze too is like the pressure of doing it quickly. And he's talked about rebuilding. And remember, he had that comment about Kirby and like he didn't do it that fast. Well, and somebody said he was in the SEC championship or the Natty national championship game 2 years in. He's like, it wasn't that fast. It was like, it was. And then Signetti's going to ruin everybody, because Signetti comes in with his roster and says, here we go, let's do this. And that's another thing too about all those coaches that we're talking about hiring. They all have a chance to bring a lot of their guys and significantly make a dent early with their guys that are familiar with the system that can be very, very successful. So you don't take that for granted when you're hiring a guy. But, Hugh Freeze, the quarterback situation, I don't know that it's going to end well. I really don't. Like, I think it's better than it was. He's had a chance to do so much better. But Brent, get in here, brother. Like, what do you think about the Florida names? What do you think about Hugh Freeze? Just thoughts on that stuff.
So the Florida names first. Did you see that he has no offset? Napier has no offset in his language. So he gets his $21 million and he could go coach somewhere. Like he could, if Summerall comes from Tulane to somewhere, he can go take that job and make the money. That's amazing.
Good for him.
I can't believe
God bless
Florida
America.
But the name that you said first was actually the name that I had in my head, and I had not seen your list or heard your list until you just said it. Because to me, this is about that job is about offense and swag. And that's Jeff Braun to a T. Like
trick plays.
Well, and just remember him when he played for the XFL. This is the XFL. And
take that.
Yeah, like
yes.
Go play some ball. Like he has that level of just general swag about him.
See, and here's what I love about that, Brent. Nobody's talking about that, but like we are, and I love that. I'm not saying we're better than everybody else, but like Brent is a brainiac. We watch this stuff. Like we watch more tape than I would argue just about everybody. Like we just love it. We love the sport, and I mean, I just if you're watching Louisville, they find talent. Like he consistently finds talent. Like Bell from Florida State, like Isaac Brown, obviously we talked about, and then he knows how to use that talent. So you know you're going to get talent. You got some talent there already on the roster. And then obviously, to me, the Lagway thing is going to be interesting and see how that's handled. But
you have to have offense. Like it has to be offense,
an
offensive-minded coach that's sort of a QB-driven system.
Because that's the glory days of Florida. That's what Florida fans, like, if you're my age, you know that Florida's elite. Like Florida's not a middle-tier SEC team. Like what you've seen the last couple of years, you're like, that's crazy. Like this is not who they are. Auburn, same way. Like Auburn's a team that we thought was really, really good, man. Like that's like they want to get back to that, and they've got to nail these hires when they make them. And obviously Hugh Freeze is still there.
The thing to think about with the fan base, the fan bases that are involved in all these, because we obviously have with the SEC the three sort of permanent opponents, and you've got Georgia as your permanent opponent. Who does the Georgia fan base not want you to hire? Like they probably don't want to see Lane, especially after this past weekend, and at that sort of spot. And granted, I know you mentioned Lane, and I don't think he's going to leave either. But
I just don't think
in terms of don't want to hire, like to me, Braum is another name that if you're a Georgia fan, you're like, that guy's doing what he's doing with that, and then you add the talent into that mix. I'm going to have to really step up the game, especially defensively.
You know who I want to be right now, by the way? Brent. I want to be every coach in college football because my gosh, like everybody's getting a raise. Like all these big jobs that are coming open, like it's going to be like Oprah handing out cars. You get a raise, you get a raise, you get a raise. Everybody's getting raises because like Eli Drinkowitz, whether he takes this job or not, Lane Kiffin is about to get a Signetti deal for Ole Miss. Like absolutely. You're going to get broke the heck off. Like
I thought you were going to say Jimmy Sexton, by the way.
I mean, yes. Jimmy Sexton,
he's
obviously.
The agent for all these coaches.
Yeah.
He was at the game, at the Georgia game with Lane. I saw that because I saw Peter Burns tweet about like the most powerful man and then Lane Kiffin because it was talking about Jimmy Sexton. But the Auburn stuff, it's, again, I think with the time frame that college football exists in now, we're going to transition. And we talked about this when we saw like the first firing at Virginia Tech, how this was going to be a massive coach change year. Because now the timeline to me is getting more and more like the NFL, where you get your 2 or 3 years, and if you don't show significant progress or the program is in the right hands, that kind of thing, you're just not going to.
But you shouldn't get more than that
chance.
because with the transfer portal now, this is a different world. You don't need 3 years anymore. You can plug and play.
Yeah,
like
that's.
And I think you should now. This is just it's going to get wackier. Like it's going to get more wackier. So this is
because once one guy takes somebody out of a job, and then there's other jobs.
Stop giving out 10-year contracts. Like stop doing it, dude. If you're an AD, overpay them in minimum years and make them go earn it. Like just stop giving out those contracts. But anyways, it's probably not going to happen. But I wouldn't be doing it anymore. All right, let's get to the staple, man. We do this every week. We do the top 12. Dude, this was a little bit harder this week because this got a little bit crazy with all the things that happened last week. But remember, this is how the committee does it. It's week to week. It's what you did. It's who you beat. It's all encompassing. So the SEC is going to continue to be a flesh-eating disease that's going to eat each other. So don't overreact too much. Number one team in the country, Ohio State. Come on now. Ohio State fans have been mad at me for a while, so you've been upset that Miami had that spot. So you know what time it is. Like, finally, Indiana gets that spot. That's exactly what you were thinking, right? Yeah. Indiana, the number one team in the country. Why is Indiana over Ohio State? Better win. The Oregon win is the most impressive win by far. The next most impressive win for both teams is Illinois. One beat them by 53. The other beat them by 18. So, like, to me, Indiana's the number one team in the country. I know you don't like that, and I know people don't like that, but Indiana, that's their highest ranking ever. Like, this is the highest they've ever been ranked, ever, in the history of their school. So, for them to be at number 2 in the AP, but C-ball, get ball, they're at number 1. So, congratulations to Indiana. Up next, they have UCLA, who is absolutely red hot. Like, red hot UCLA, which will be fun to watch. Number 2, Ohio State. The Ohio State University. Dominant on both sides of the ball. So good. Again, haven't had, if you take away that Illinois game, the next best win is Texas and Washington, who are good teams. They're not great teams. And you look at their schedule, Michigan's the last one on their schedule that's going to be ranked, and Michigan will probably hold on to that with their schedule as well. So Ohio State, again, it doesn't matter, 1 or 2. All that matters is where you're at the end of the season, and you get to prove it. Number 3, A&M. And this is kind of where it gets to be like, okay, do you have the cojones to put a one-loss team above an undefeated team? A&M's resume is pretty solid. Like, beating Notre Dame early in the season, beat them by 1. They beat Auburn. Like, that's not a great second win. They just gave up 42 to Arkansas, so that wasn't pretty. That wasn't their best game. Find a way to win is all that freaking matters. That's all anybody cares about. Up next for them is LSU. So at LSU, that's a losable game. Like, LSU is definitely a team that can their offense got better. Now, LSU, I wouldn't even have them ranked at this point. I don't know if people have them ranked. I wouldn't, because at some point we go, that Clemson win isn't very good, and I'm not sure what else that you'd really be looking at to see that they've been good. If you had Bama in the top 3 above A&M with the way they looked last week, I mean, I can see it. I'm not ready to do that because you still got to count the Florida State game where they didn't play good, they lost. I know A&M gave up 42 to Arkansas, but they won, and that's all that matters to me. But Bama clearly the best one-loss team, and one of the best teams in country. I would not want to play them. I would not want that smoke. I mean, they are like, they got outside at South Carolina next. But just think about when we start doing the end of the year thing and you start going, this is who's beaten really good teams. Okay, so think about beating number 5, number 10, number 15, number 17 in a 4-game stretch. That's their last 4 games. Like, Bama doesn't have to prove themselves to anyone. Like, you can say FSU all you want. Like, who in the country is running that 4-game gauntlet? Not very many. So Bama's clearly the best one-loss team in the country. The team they beat right after them, University of Georgia. And big win against Ole Miss, who was in the top 5. Gunnar Stockton starting to do this and raise his game. The defense, it won't be as big of a matchup nightmare every week like it was with Ole Miss. But you see in the bracket right there, if they played USF, who can score would be interesting. But you can see the offense is rolling. And Gunner's only 7 games into his career, right? So I think he's going to continue to grow, to get better. This offense looks like it's starting to find an identity. It's starting to be red hot. So look out for Georgia. Number 6, Miami. A pretty good fall. And you know why? Carson Beck looked pretty average last week. Wasn't his best day. The last pick, we can debate whether that was his fault or not, but I know a lot of negativity going his way. Why? Because he said it was not his fault on that last pick. It probably wasn't, but the scrutiny will now come even more. But it's not like Carson Beck's not used to that. Carson Beck got scrutinized all last year. He got clowned all last year. So I don't think it matters to him. They're still going to be obviously a really good football team. They got caught on a Friday night. They got down 14-0, and before you know it, it's over. So I got them down the rung a little bit. Number 7, Oregon. Listen, there's not much to say. Still hammering people. Knowing Dan Lanning's personality, he's just frothing at the mouth, ready to play someone else because that taste in his mouth hasn't gone away yet from that loss. and but they're still hammering people. Number 8, Oklahoma. Be interested to see how people feel about that one. Oklahoma. Napier still didn't look like Napier, but they took care of business. In Oklahoma, like what's their best win? Is it Michigan? Is it Auburn? Like they don't have a great win yet, and they have a loss to Texas. But the reason I got them ahead of Vandy is because I got Vandy next, is because their defense is better than Vanderbilt's. And I think when Napier's healthy, his ability to throw the football and attack every part of the field, I think is absolutely insane. So Vandy next. Oklahoma, by the way, Ole Miss this week. We're going to find out all we need to know. They host Ole Miss. So that's going to be absolutely fantastic. Vandy, they got Missouri next, which will be great. But you look at them, the defense playing as well as they are, getting as many TFLs, getting takeaways, like the offensive line, you've seen clips all over the place of guys just mauling people and throwing them down, and then Pavia making magic. So Vanderbilt Commodores, highest they've been ranked, I think, since 1940 something like that. I think it was like 1942 or 1947. And then you're witnessing history, too. Georgia Tech is the highest they've been ranked in October since 1999, and they are next. The Rambling Wreck from Georgia Tech, undefeated, taking care of business again with Duke and continuing to not beat themselves. Why are they ranked over BYU, who's not going to be in my top 12? Spoiler alert. Haynes King. I mean, that's the main reason why. They're more explosive on offense, the weaponry, the creativity. I think BYU's good. I don't think they're as explosive as Georgia Tech, and obviously Georgia Tech comes in at 10 for us. Ole Miss at 11, and this will be interesting to watch the bounce back. They played a really good game versus Georgia. Didn't finish, and how does that affect Lane? How does it affect this team? Can their defense get better? Because they played really bad last week, and now you got to go visit John Napier and company. So I'm excited to see how they bounce back. And the number 12 seed, who we already mentioned, who would have been playing Georgia. They got Memphis this week, which is cool because that was one of those teams that was in the 12 spot for a little while, and now's not. And they play them this week. And USF, man, like they can score, and they can score a lot. So any gripes, Brent Rollins, with my top 12? Any changes? Anything we could expand on or talk about?
I will say I've been pretty consistent in the fact that I would have Ohio State number 1.
Yeah.
Really from day one. So, but
you can have Ohio State number 1, but I've been pretty consistent. What they've done on the field so far, Indiana deserves to be ahead of them.
I know. I get it. I'm just putting that out there.
Well, anybody can put that out there. I get that. I understand that. But that's not the committee's job. The committee's job is to put who they've played, and their job is to say who the number 1 team in the country is.
The Georgia Tech and BYU thing, I think that's one where if you look at like best win, I mean, you're
BYU.
I think like BYU has a better win.
Yep, no doubt.
And the rest of their stuff is kind of the same, basically. Yep. But the thing is, I mean, Georgia Tech obviously has it still Georgia in the schedule, and
yep.
BYU has at Iowa State and then at Texas Tech. But still, that one is one for me that would be question mark. The rest of them, I do think, like, if you look at the AP poll, you've got basically Oklahoma and Ole Miss almost flipped. Like the AP has Ole Miss 8, I think, and Oklahoma 13th. Yeah. So
I can see that.
Recency bias probably in terms of where they were, but so that's one that's a little bit different than what you have.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Oh,
when we're making this pick, who's a more complete team, Oklahoma or Ole Miss?
Oh,
that's pretty clear to me. Really? Whose defense are you taking?
I'm taking Oklahoma's defense.
Okay,
yes.
By a wide margin.
Yes.
Whose offense are you taking?
I'm taking Ole Miss's offense.
Okay, but not by a wide margin. So that's
not as wide of margin. Correct.
Well, that's the easy way to do it.
The last part is we have to mention the team that is on here that is in your playoff as of right now, and that is Vanderbilt.
Yes, they won't be there.
Non-zero chance
right now.
That non-zero chance is hanging around. That non-zero chance is hanging around.
They're hanging around for sure.
Well, but like they take care of business this week against Missouri. I mean, Texas and Tennessee, they split. I think they're in. I think they're going to be in.
They've got a chance. And how crazy is that? Like, that's just
That's
awesome.
amazing.
That's amazing. That's why college football is so amazing. Like that's why you should embrace. I know there's a lot you don't like about it, man, but the fact that now that we have so many teams that are spread out that are competing, Vandy's selling out. Like when I went to school, Vanderbilt, when you went to a game, it was like you could pick out all 12 people that were there. Like, and it's, I mean, how awesome is it for so many fan bases to have a legitimate shot to win a national title, to go to a playoff? That is so freaking good, man.
Yes, unbelievable. But there's teams that are maybe kind of not so much in the playoff picture.
Yeah, no doubt. The eliminators. All right, go ahead, Brent. I've been talking a lot, so eliminate somebody.
The Cornhuskers. Nebraska, you had a chance. You had a chance to hang around.
So you're saying there's a chance.
And then you got the boat road just all over top of you. They just dunked you into the water with the boat. Fleck and Company, Minnesota. So, yeah, Nebraska, no more chance. You done. You were eliminated.
Row you boat. Wesley, who you got? Who you eliminating?
I gotta ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
We made the list today, and we had Vandy above Oklahoma, and then you pull a switcheroo on me and put Oklahoma and mess up our graphics. What's up with that?
Oh, well, I have it on the list. I had Oklahoma at 8 and Vandy at 9 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I texted you and I said Vandy has a better loss and a better win.
Yeah,
and you said, "Oh yeah, you're right.
See,
I like that."
I like that. But here's what I meant. I meant we could talk about that because I thought it was a good point. But the reason why I would take Oklahoma is because the John Napier injury, and I think Oklahoma's defense, I think Oklahoma's a better team than Vandy.
Okay. All right, fair.
So
miscommunication.
Fair.
All right,
but it's fair. I like it.
My eliminator, let me get my notes. LSU, all right? That Vandy game, I love Vandy right now. I do. And LSU's only lost 2 games, still mathematically possible to get to the CFP. I just don't like what's going on with BK right now. And I put myself in the shoes of a player and the leadership it takes to navigate that whole season. And it's a grind to get there, and the remaining schedule that LSU has ahead. I just haven't seen that LSU can bounce back from what they've already put out on the field and show that they're going to be much better. So, yeah, they have 2 losses, still mathematically alive. But based on this past weekend, that score, a lot closer than what happened on the field. Bayou Bengals are out for me. I've eliminated LSU.
I jumped on the same train. And I think it's because you got LSU, that now the defense joined the party, not playing well. But A&M, Alabama, Arkansas, Oklahoma, I just don't see them getting in. I don't see a path where they're going to win all of those games or most of them the rest of the way. So I jumped on with Wes, man. I think the LSU Tigers are going to be disappointed. Now, listen, before the season, there wasn't a lot of people that put LSU in the playoff. There were some, I know, but they're definitely a team that was flirting with there. And we said if they got a defense, they'd be in. They got a defense, but they lost their offense. So, all right, give me some numbers, Brent, for Week 9 that are going to be big time. Are going to be keys to some of these matchups.
One quick thing before we hit that. If I gave you a 1-loss team that has a victory at your previous number 1, would you want to maybe put them higher in those rankings?
If you gave me a 1-loss team with a victory at number 1? Like Louisville?
You had number 1.
Yeah, Louisville?
Otherwise known as Louisville.
Yeah.
It also has that's one where that's like
they
kind of underranked, I think.
Yeah, they should be ranked. But they also let's not forget the Virginia game and the Pitt game. Let's not act like that. But you're right though. They deserve credit for that. They get the win. Yeah. But they also have a couple of smears that you just go, ugh, that was not good performances. Yeah. Their ball boy maybe deserves to be ranked higher, but that's for sure. Dude was fantastic.
But it's one of those things when we look at all this and you think, hey, best win. That win is almost as good as it gets. That's for sure. This week as we look ahead every week when the numbers don't lie, brought to you by Pro Football Focus, who I've worked for now for 12 years. That code GetBall25 in the link is in the YouTube description there, so click that. But we look ahead at the games that are coming up this week. First, we got Oklahoma hosting Ole Miss as of the AP ranks 8-13. Early spread, Oklahoma 4.5-point favorite. So we kind of talked about a little bit, just quickly when Oklahoma played South Carolina, the production they got from their running backs in that game. Went back and watched a lot of just good stuff from them in the running game. 29 attempts, 154 yards in the run game, 2 touchdowns, and 5 10-plus yard runs from their running backs. I went back and looked. Outside of the Maine game, Maine is in the school Maine, like state Maine. That's the most running back output they've had since a win over TCU in week 13 in 2023. And that year it only happened twice. So, like, unreal that it's been that long when you think back to even Lincoln Riley and how much the running game mattered with Lincoln Riley, that they had that level of production from the running back. And it actually only happened, they only beat that number one other time in 2023. So you've got to go back to like when they had the Eric Gray kid in 2022 to when they actually had running game like that. And then now they go get some running back production and they go play Ole Miss, whose running defense is struggle bus, 99th in the FBS and 68th in the FBS and run D grade. So I was shocked that how little running back production they've gotten all the years.
You know what, too, man? Could you imagine? Well, here's the thing. I think the others have to be better right now until Napier gets to be Napier. Like they've got to get that, because watching the South Carolina game, it was better than Texas. But the ball still didn't come off of his hand like you used to seeing the zip and that thing going to the receiver with great accuracy. So that's a big key to me, Brent, too. They got to help him out, man.
Well, it's and maybe one of those blessing in disguise type things, especially if like, hey,
you have to work on it.
Let's get this part of our team right while he gets himself back to health. All right, we talked about Vandy. So Missouri at Vandy. Vandy early favorite, 2.5 points. If you had to put one of these teams in the playoff, if I told you one of them make it, which one are you taking?
I take Vandy, because here's what's it's discouraging to me about Missouri. That offense is absolutely flatlined. Like the Prebula magic that you were talking about early in the season, like, and you were giving me these numbers, like it's gone back. It's regressed to the mean. There's a reason why he wasn't starting over Drew Aller, and we knew that, right? Like that was not a surprise. And I think to watch that lack of vertical passing game, but lack of passing game period and production from that point. So the run game started to stutter a little bit now too. So that offense is just, it's not humming.
So speaking of that, after 5 straight weeks of over 100 yards, Ahmad Hardy, can he get back to being Ahmad Hardy? 12 for 52 against Bama, 24 carries for 58 yards against Auburn. Now those are pretty stout defenses, but can he get back to doing that against Vandy? I don't know. We'll see. I think that's going to matter big time in terms of the outcome of that game. Third game that's a sort of ranked matchup, A&M at LSU. So you remember how we talked about last week, LSU going that they'd only struggled against South Carolina from a pass pro standpoint, and that both of their sort of low grade games were against South Carolina. Well, last week against Vandy, their team pass block grade was 40.4. It was the lowest single game grade in the PFF era. That's 12 years.
You said 40.4?
Yes.
Holy
So
choke.
Really bad. 60's average. 60's sort of that average point.
So it's like my grades in school.
Yeah, even better.
60 was my average.
Yeah. But like you think about, like Nuss was under pressure 43% of his dropbacks. The left tackle, Tyree Adams, went out early in that game. I saw where he's out against A&M. And now you face A&M, who's 10th in the Power 4 in pressure rate. That's a bad stretch. And because I thought into that game, I thought Nussmeier was going to die at certain points in that game because he was getting destroyed.
He played his best game.
Oh, he played great, but he was getting destroyed in that game. But yeah. All right. So does that make you have an early lean or no?
100% A&M.
Okay. All right. So okay. I agree. Next up, BYU coming off their big win and the higher ranking. They go to Iowa State. Actually, Iowa State is a 2.5 point favorite in terms of the early look that I looked at. BYU, and we're going to look at them this week, and something's brewing. The running offense is as good as it gets.
It's because they have a Bear at quarterback.
And you have a 47 Bear, whose name is Bear, wearing 47 at quarterback. 10th best rushing offense in the FBS. They're number 5 in the Power 4 run block grade. So like it's effective play, not just getting statistics.
And it worked versus Utah.
Yes, which is another animal in and of itself. But Iowa State, 67th of the 68 Power 4 teams in run defense grade and tackling grade. This is kind of one of those matchup things where it's like, ooh, that favors the ranked team, and that favors BYU in a big way this week.
Yeah, but here's what I'll say about that too. What I've learned over the years too is these lines, when you look at them and you're like, that really stinks, they're usually right. So I get it, but somehow that happens. It's at Iowa State,
you got
too, which is
freshman quarterback Bear playing at Rocco Beck. That's one where I could see that being theirs. And last game to look at, and sort of a look ahead game, which I think is very much a playoff elimination game, is Illinois at Washington. And so the question for this one, if one of these teams finishes 10-2, are they a playoff team?
The only one that could be a playoff team is Washington, because Illinois has 2 losses that are – one was 53 points, broski. 53. Like, I'm not exaggerating like I normally do. Like, it was a 53-point loss.
Yes.
They weren't that competitive versus Ohio State. Like, it's got to be Washington, who was competitive against Michigan, who was competitive against Ohio State. I mean, they played Ohio State probably better than anybody has in the country. So you're going to get some credit for that. But, man, golly, me and you both thought Washington was better than they were last week, and they would be fine. And they look bad, so they got to bounce back. And there is obviously something to going across the country. And they do it a lot in the Big Ten. And you've seen it. It's taken its toll, and it's had some magic. And now Illinois has to go at Washington, where they're tough to beat and tough to play against, unless you're Ohio State.
So if Washington does win this game, they go at Wisconsin, Purdue, at UCLA, which is now a different animal.
Yep.
And then they get Oregon at home. So, like, if they finish 10-2 with that running through that, they're a playoff team.
If they beat Oregon, yes.
Yeah, I agree. Illinois would have their best wins would be USC and Washington, because the last 4 games, Rutgers, Maryland, Wisconsin, Northwestern, they're not getting any bump from those. It'd have to be carnage elsewhere, and there'd probably be that they'd be maybe that 10-2 team that's right on the cusp of left out, or a debate with a 9-3.
The carnage, I think you would agree, and I would agree, is coming.
Yes,
I think there's plenty more carnage coming. So nobody's out.
There's a world where
can I ask you a question?
Okay, ask away.
Who do you think's ranked 3rd in the Big Ten or 4th in the Big Ten?
Let's see. So you got Indiana and Ohio State
and Oregon. To give you those 3.
Oh, in terms of ranking or like conference standings?
In the conference standings, who do you think's the 4th team in the Big Ten?
Why am I drawing a blank on this?
You have zero chance of getting this. That's why.
No, I actually know this because they won last week too. They won 2 in a row, Big Ten games. That would be Northwestern.
I mean,
they're
is anybody
5-2,
paying attention?
Right? Aren't they
Northwestern,
yeah,
actually doing kind of good. Like they're winning close, and they only got beat by 20 to Oregon.
Correct.
They didn't lose that bad to Illinois. Like they're a good freaking football team, man. Like
let's look at their schedule.
I looked at it earlier today.
At Nebraska.
Yep.
Let's see. That's this week.
Yep.
At
play
USC
Nebraska this week.
versus Michigan, and then at Illinois.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it might come.
Yeah, but I think that's a team that we haven't talked about getting much respect, but they found a way to win close games. And so that's, I like to give teams credit, and they deserve some credit. So there's our rankings, boys. Now we get to do the victory formation, and we do this every week as well. So, Brent, I'll let you start this one off again, too. Who won the weekend, bro?
This one's fun. Local. I think Mike Bobo / Gunnar Stockton. But more so, I'm going to say more so Bobo, because just the vibe in the Georgia fan base after this past weekend was they found their new Bobo. It's just the other coordinator, not him. Everybody's loving him right now. And the fact that I even saw online, I saw a Mike Bobo apology form where you could check there was reasons for your behavior. Submit it to Mike Bobo and your reason for your behavior.
Bro, you might as well put Gunnar Stockton on that list too. They should be a package deal.
So, like Mike Bobo, Gunnar Stockton, I think they very much won the weekend.
They definitely won the weekend. They took care of business. I got Arizona State. Hold on. The helmet's right back there. Still haven't hung it up yet. We're working on it. Still a work in progress. But, like, you think about QB getting healthy. You think about how big that win was in the league. in the Big 12 to stay alive now. In the schedule coming up, they got Houston, they got Iowa State, they got West Virginia, they got Colorado, and they got Arizona. So Sam Leavitt back healthy. They put the ball in his hands a lot, and that sucker delivered. Like, big-time win of the weekend for Kenny Dillingham, Sam Leavitt, and Arizona State. Wesley, what you got, brother?
All right, you're going to love this. And when I say that, I mean, I anticipate you're going to hate it. We don't talk about D3 college football on this show a lot, but the Curry College Colonels. You ever heard of them?
Curry College Colonels, CCC?
That's right, Triple C. We'll get this. Monty Quinn, their running back, set the all-time, all-level rushing record in college football history. 522 yards on the ground.
On the ground?
Versus Nichols College. So I know we don't go D3 often. I get it. This is a broadcast, not a narrowcast.
How many carries?
But if we're talking winners of the weekend, that guy won forever until someone else gets 523 or more. Curry College Colonels. It's the only time we're going to talk about him on the show. Monty Quinn, the winner of the weekend. Take a knee, son. 522 yards. And if you think you've heard of Nichols College before, maybe you heard about them when they lost 92-60 against Coast Guard in the highest scoring regulation game in college football history. So Nichols College, the losers of the weekend yet again.
They're on the wrong end of the things that are going on. I wanted to know how many carries. Like, did he have 400 carries? Did he carry the ball every single play? Like 522 yards? I mean,
let me see what he had. 522 yards, single game record at any level for Curry College. The internet's broken today. I don't know if y'all have had that issue or not. So I'm going to tap dance a little bit here, but can you imagine, like, what do you do as a defender?
20 carries.
That doesn't even seem mathematically possible.
20 carries. He had 522 on 20 carries. Yeah. 26.1 yards a carry. Are you kidding me?
How about that, man? Monty Quinn.
Good
should
for
get
you,
him on
Monty
the show.
Quinn. 8 rushes over 25 yards. All right, Wesley. Well, you brought us that good nugget, Wesley. Wrap us up. Tell us where we're going to be on, when we're going to be on here, so everybody knows, because you do this a heck of a lot better than my dumb defensive see-ball, get-ball brain and mind.
All right. While I do this, you can start working on that Arizona State helmet. We will be back. We'll be back Wednesday night, 8:30, live. Still working on a guest for this week. We'll keep you posted on that. Something's brewing coming up on BYU, as Brent mentioned. And our picks will be out Wednesday morning as well. And hit like, hit subscribe. Appreciate everyone in the comments tonight. Comments were only for our loyal subscribers tonight. So thank y'all to everyone that was in there getting a piece of that action. We'll see y'all again on Wednesday night. Forks up.